This story is going to make me sound crazy, but here goes. Before this incident, I had never used a Ouija board in my life. Growing up, I had an aunt who would dabble with Ouija boards in the paranormal, and my mother always advised me to never touch one. One day, my partner decided it would be fun to buy a Ouija board and use it with a few friends. I wouldn't say we were complete skeptics, but I don't think any of us were really expecting anything wild to happen. We went on the internet and looked up how to safely use one, and plan out what kind of questions we should ask. So, we run to Toys R Us and pick up a Hasbro Ouija board. We didn't really want to use it at our house, so we gathered up a couple friends and I drove to a state park a few towns over. We start to head up the hiking trail and find a good spot to lay the board down. We begin going through the motions of asking if there was a spirit who would like to communicate, etc., etc. The planchette moved with ease. It's a really strange, powerful feeling when it glides across the board. The planchette it came with was a thick hunk of plastic, and there was quite a bit of friction when trying to intentionally move it on the board. We were a bit stunned that the damn thing was working. We asked the spirit if it was a good spirit. Of course, the planchette moved over to no. We then asked if it wanted to harm us. Planchette moves over to yes. My partner asked how it would go about doing this. The board began to spell out ENGINE. We see a group of hikers coming up in our general direction, and we carelessly put the board away without properly saying goodbye. We hike back down to another secluded area, and decide to try again. This time, we come into contact with a spirit who claims to be a 6-year-old boy who died sometime in the 1800s. Seemed nice at first, until he told our friend he wanted him to die so he would have someone to play with. We decide to ask the board questions only we would know the answers to. Each person asking the question took their hands off the planchette, to be certain. The board got every damn question correct, and that's when I started to feel a bit uneasy. I honestly couldn't believe it. The board then proceeded to spell out my name, throwaway 636,353. I was confused as to what that meant. Soon after, it began to rain, so we told the board that we had to go, and asked it to help us bring the planchette down to goodbye. It complied. We all begin walking back to my car, when I noticed this woman sitting in an SUV next to mine, watching us. Her gaze never really left, and it kind of rubbed me the wrong way. We all get in my car and I go to start it, and the engine doesn't turn over. It was almost as if the battery was dead, but my accessories still worked. I begin to shit bricks. I hadn't had my car for very long and it never gave me trouble. It seemed like way too big of a coincidence. I look over at that woman and put my window down and ask her if she has jumper cables. She reaches behind her and pulls them out, as if she had them ready. We get out of my car and hook them up, when my partner's friend's phone rings from a number he doesn't recognize. He picks it up and it was someone just asking if we were okay. He chalked it up to the fact that a drug dealer previously had the number, so he got a lot of unknown calls. Weird. We start chatting with this woman and thank her for letting us use the jumper cables. Turns out, she has the same name as me, which the board had previously spelled out, perhaps a warning. She tells us that she works as an ultrasound technician at a local hospital and has cancer in young children. We ask her what she was doing in the parking lot, to which she explained she was waiting for her weed dealer. Medical marijuana is legal in my state, so I was a bit perplexed but didn't think anything of it. I was just grateful she was helping us. I go to try and start the car and it still doesn't work. It just kind of rolls for a few feet in the parking lot before shutting off. At this point it's getting dark and I begin to come to terms with the fact that I'll have to call a tow truck. Our friends ended up getting picked up, and my partner stayed with me as we waited for the tow truck to arrive. We told the woman she could leave, since she was still weirdly waiting with us. She offered for us to sit in her car while we wait, because it was raining again. I asked her if she could pop the trunk so I could sit on the ledge, but she told me the trunk didn't open. Stupidly, I get in her car with my partner. The weird woman made a joke about disabling her child's safety locks in the back, so I won't think she's trying to keep us here. That rubbed me the wrong way. She starts telling me that maybe I should just leave my car there, and offered to give us a ride home. I politely decline. Then, she tells me that she has a friend whose husband works for VW, and he could surely fix my car for a good price. She calls up her friend, and because we were in the car, it was quiet enough that my partner and I could faintly hear the other line. She explains the car problem and asks how much it would be to fix it. We hear on the other line the person ask if I am a boy or girl. The woman says girl, and the man on the line simply said, good. Nope. We get out of the car and tell her the tow truck should be there soon and thanks for her help. We gave her the Ouija board and told her she could keep it because we didn't want it anymore. I still wonder what she did with it. She kept trying to get me to give her my phone number, and kept saying she would come with me to get my car fixed from her friend. Eventually, she fucked off. We ended up getting back home late. Told the AAA guy how we were fucking around with a Ouija board and met the weird lady afterwards. He said he wouldn't have picked us up if he had known that. The next day, my partner opened his texts that he sent out when we were waiting for the tow. In a conversation with his mother, the text box had "Yes Satan yes" written out. The message wasn't sent, but he sure as hell didn't write that. The next day I called the hospital to see if that woman even worked there, like she had claimed. Nope. They transferred me to 2 different floors, and there was no ultrasound technician working there with my name. To this day, I still don't know how to explain what happened that night. And I'm sure as hell never using a Ouija board again. Also, the dealer the woman claimed to be waiting for never even showed up. So, what she was doing that night, and what her intentions were, I'll never know.